Cenk right now, he has been blaming Israel since the beginning of the war, but now he sees the defeat of Hamas, so now he's changing his tone a little bit, his attitude. And I like his cleverity. He's a very clever Palestinian. He's the perfect example of a Palestinian, by the way. Cenk, just right there. Because Palestinian is not limited to Gaza. Palestinian is a syndrome. It's a mental illness. It's a universal phenomenon. And Cenk is the perfect example. And if he gets hungry eventually, I will not be surprised that he will eat his own children.
Okay, or Cenk, your response.
Okay, so you would like me to respond to a guy who just escaped from a mental asylum. Okay, if he calls me a Palestinian...
You are the one who should go to a mental asylum.
Okay, if he calls me a Palestinian, I am incredibly proud to bear that name. Thank you for making me an honorary Palestinian. The whole world should be honorary Palestinians for the suffering that they have gone through and the brutal slaughter of the Palestinians at the hands of the Israelis. So I don't want the audience to get confused. Mossad is an Israeli agent. He's a turncoat. He doesn't believe that the Palestinians should exist. But it's okay. I don't have to clarify it much because he just told you. He thinks that Palestinians don't exist and that they have no rights and they are the ones encroaching on the indigenous land of the Israelis. I mean, look, I know if you're an Israeli supporter, some of you have lost your mind so much that you believe that the Muslims there that have been living there for centuries, millennium, are somehow in your way and they should just be dispensed with, and that the real true heirs of that land are the people that were brought in from Europe and other places. Look, the Jewish people have suffered greatly throughout history, and anyone who denies that is denying reality. But now it breaks my heart to see that they have become what they most despise. They escaped that kind of brutality only to do it to the Palestinians now. So if you notice, Mossad over there never answered the question. There is no standard that the Palestinians can ever meet. They even say absurd things like they don't exist, that this Palestinian state should never exist, Palestinians as an ethnicity should never exist. And then they have the temerity to say, can you believe that they theoretically don't think that Israel should have a right to exist, even though it's existed since 1948. It's one of the biggest militaries in the world, backed by the greatest military power in the history of the world. It has nuclear weapons. Your existence is rock solid. You're murdering Palestinian
But that doesn't. But hang on, Cenk.
Wake up.
Let me jump in there.
Wake up.
Cenk, that doesn't change.
So you didn't jump in as the lunatic was saying things, but go ahead.
Cenk, that doesn't change the premise of the argument that Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, the Iranian regime, none of them accept the existence of an Israeli state, and they are all wedded.
Piers,
well, hang on. Let me
so
finish.
Glad you're bringing
Let me finish my question.
Okay,
and they're all wedded to its destruction. That's the point. It's not a question of whether it does exist.
No.
It's that all those groups want to eradicate it. They're open about it.
Okay, Piers, let's look at your framing. Okay, so in the reality-based world, Palestine does not exist because Israel is blocking its existence. Its cabinet voted to say that a Palestinian state will never exist. They will never allow it. So you're not worried that in the real world, the Palestinians are not allowed to exist, and if they resist at all, their brutal 57-year humiliating occupation, they're called terrorists, they're the worst people on earth, we should hate them all, and they should never be allowed to exist. That's the real world. Israel exists and is one of the largest militaries in the world.
Yeah, but you're missing my point again, deliberately. I think you're deliberately missing my point.
Hold on. Okay, Piers, let me finish. Now, meanwhile, you live in a theoretical world where you say these powerless people who have no ability to affect Israel's existence at all. The Palestinians are literally throwing stones. They bomb back to the Stone Age. They have no power at all.
Hezbollah's been firing
rockets.
rockets.
You're saying, hold on. If you ask me a question, let me answer the goddamn question.
You are making wrong statements,
Okay, you're being a ridiculous, unfair, ridiculous person.
I'm picking you up
on... Go and join the Mossad over here with him.
I'm picking you up. His name is Mossad, by the way, with a B. But the
Mossad, right? That's who he works for, and that's who he's
Well, his name is Mossab, and he works...
Oh, he's Mossad that works for Mossad. Okay, got it.
I think you're deliberately avoiding the point I'm making, which is...
No, I'm getting to the point you're making if you stop cutting me off.
Okay, but you're making misleading statements. You're saying these people are firing throwing rocks at Israel. They're doing a lot more than throwing rocks. Hezbollah's been firing
they're
rocket
throwing
after
bombs that
rocket
are not
after
landing
rocket
at all.
after rocket. Hamas has been launching terror attacks. The Houthis have been firing rockets. The Iranians are funding it all. It's not just rock throwing, Cenk, is it?
Okay, Piers, you're making it sound, this is the frame of all Western media, that the Palestinians and the Arabs and the Muslims are so strong, they're about to wipe out poor little Israel, who's barely existing right now, poor little David, and this Goliath Arabs are about to wipe them out. Are you crazy?
I said they
In
would
the
like
real world,
to.
Israel is the... Okay, what an absurd thing. Okay, so here, Piers. African National Congress resisted the apartheid in South Africa. They did it through terrorism, they killed civilians, and they did it through peace, they did it through both. They were both terrorists and resistance fighters. They were both of those things, and you can be both of those things. What you would say right now is, the African National Congress didn't want white South Africa to exist. They wanted them to be wiped out. The African National Congress are terrorists. They're the worst people. We have to keep apartheid because those guys are terrorists. We have to keep apartheid because they don't want South Africa to exist as it currently is. So no, that's absurd. So if you say to me, should Israel exist? Of course Israel should exist. Of course they should be a safe haven. But they're saying, no, Cenk, you're right, Israel should exist, but Palestine shouldn't. And you're saying I'm the one that's being unfair?
I haven't said that. Why are you
Do not
putting words
see
in
the
my mouth?
absurdity of that?
Why are you putting words in my mouth? I never said that.
Okay, Piers, do you see the absurdity?
I didn't say
of
that,
the
Cenk.
Israelis not only existing, but occupying the Palestinians for 57 years and preventing their state, and then claiming that their right to existence is somehow in jeopardy, but the Palestinians isn't. So for God's sake, what can the Palestinians do for these Israelis to free them, to give them their state and to stop occupying them?
Let me bring, we've got Mossad back.
Israelis, I'm begging you to stop being so brutal, stop being the thing that you hated. Stop being the thing that oppressed you in the first place. These Palestinians are not Nazis. You're fighting a ghost. No, the people who are being the fascists here, I hate to do this because it's breaking my heart and it should break your heart. You're being the fascists. You're the ones slaughtering their civilians. Look, how do you look at those children being starved to death in northern Gaza and not see Jewish children in Germany in the 1930s and 40s? How do you not see that? It's the same exact image. Snap out of it.
But Cenk,
stop being the thing that you hated.
All right, Cenk, before I go to Mossad for a response, how do you not see, conversely, that what happened on October the 7th was to Jewish people not dissimilar to what the Nazis did to them in World War II? How do you not see that parallel?
No, it is not similar at all.
It is.
At all, Piers.
It is. It's a group wedded to the destruction of all
it's
Jewish...
insanity.
Let me finish
Stop
my
saying
question.
The same things.
It is a group wedded, in the case of the Nazis, to the eradication of all Jewish people, as indeed are Hamas. What's the difference?
Okay, this is a convenient talking point to justify...
What's the difference?
Actually preventing the Palestinians from
Tell
existing.
me the moral difference.
What is wrong with you people?
Tell me the moral difference.
In reality, yes, of course I'll tell you the difference. So what they did on October 7th was terrible. I hate any civilians being killed. I hate terrorism. That is why Netanyahu is an awful, disgusting terrorist. He's killed 30 to 40 times the number of civilians that Sinwar did. What an awful, despicable terrorist he is. Guys, October 7th can be terrible, but at the same time, you can acknowledge the power dynamic of who is stronger and who is not. Why does that make a difference? Because the Nazis were the more powerful force. They had every ability to wipe out the Jews, and they tried. The powerful force, Goliath, the Nazis, were horrible for what they did to the Jews. When the French resistance fought back and killed German civilians, it might have been the wrong strategy. It might have been immoral to kill German civilians. But the French resistance was not, oh, they're trying to wipe out Germans from existence, so the French resistance is bad. They should surrender to the Nazis. No, they were the powerless. The powerless always do ineffective violence that we call terrorism. And then to say, no, it's their fault that the powerless are going to somehow wipe out the powerful. No, you're framing it in a way that is totally hypothetical and theoretical because you want to avoid the reality of what is actually happening in the world, which is the Israelis wiping out the Palestinians